All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. And feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know if you're a high school student, college student, a family member. We'd love to hear about where you're coming from. And I will just tell you that I'm coming to you from Mountain View, California, aka Google's hometown. So excited to see you all from across the country. And I'll turn it over to Lisa, our host with the most.
Yes, yes. Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Bleich, and it's so great to see a lot of some familiar faces, people that I haven't seen, for a couple years. So I'm glad that you guys are here. And then it's also nice, of course, to see our existing clients. So welcome. We're so excited when Jeremy Schiffling reached out to us and offered to give this presentation to our clients. We thought it would be a great way to continue sharing knowledge with you and helping you as you continue on your journey, college and beyond. And without further ado, I just want to say that, we were so excited because Jeremy is a former LinkedIn and Khan Academy leader. He's OpenAI's first education partner. He networked his way into jobs at Google, LinkedIn, and Apple. And he's going to give us a step-by-step playbook of how to help you get started from day one as you get your way into college. And those of you who are already there, you'll be able to catch up very quickly. So without further ado, I want to introduce and welcome Jeremy.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you also to Steph and Abby and the whole team from College Bound Mentor for making this possible. I know a lot of you have worked with them directly and know them well, but please give them some love in the chat for making this session possible tonight. And then be sure to give a special shout
Oh,
out.
look at
Yeah,
that.
as you can see, I'm a little bit of an AI fanboy, so got
I
to
like
give special love to
that.
Lisa, our courageous coach superstar, making this
Oh,
session
thank you.
possible for all. Okay, a little bit about your speaker tonight. As Lisa said, I've had this interesting career working from everywhere from business school to Silicon Valley, working inside LinkedIn, working at Khan Academy. And all that is to say that careers are long and winding. So if you're in college right now or you're about to go to college, just know there's not one career, one job for everyone. There's a whole series of experiences you're going to have, and you're going to learn from each of those. So let's take the pressure off a little bit and say, hey, let's explore what's out there, see what's possible for us. That being said, had a chance to work with students from tons of great schools around the world, help them build lots of great opportunities, and as a former teacher myself, I am physically incapable of delivering a standard Zoom webinar, PowerPoints and bullet points and all that nonsense. So tonight's going to be a little different. First of all, we've got some pop quizzes. And I know you students are sick of pop quizzes, but I promise you these will be ungraded just in the name of learning. So get ready to answer those in the chat. Number two, we're not just going to talk about stuff, we're going to do it together. We're going to have a live demo of every key technique, which means I need your help. So if you're feeling brave tonight, be sure to volunteer when the time is right. And if you do, I will send you a free copy of the world's best-selling AI for Careers book sent right to you wherever you are across the country, around the globe. And then finally, most importantly, be curious. I think the single best way to learn about ourselves and careers is to ask juicy questions. So if you've got questions, put them in the chat or even unmute if you like. Happy to take those at any point. And with that being said, let me start with a juicy question of my own, which is, of these three college majors, which one do you think has the highest unemployment rate today, according to the New York Fed? Is it A, computer science, B, art history, or C, those philosophy majors? So come to the chat, give me A, B, or C. Let me know what you think. Okay, Harold's kicking it off with a B. We've got Marshall saying B. We've got Lisa saying A. We've got Matthew saying A. Matthew, if you don't mind coming off mute for just one moment, why are you saying A? It seems like CS is sort of that perfect major that we've all heard about. What's your case against it, Matthew?
Yeah, sorry if I'm cutting out. I'm feeding home in Manhattan right now. AI is displacing CS majors like crazy. Claude Code, Codex, all that stuff has been really taken over.
Yeah, Matthew, you nailed it. It turns out that when you crunch the data, CS has pretty much double the unemployment rate of art history and philosophy. And this is not to say don't be a CS major, but the larger point is to choose a path that is actually right for who you are, not just what was in the headlines yesterday. And so, to kick off the session, before we talk about looking for a job or applying for a job, We got to make sure that you're focused on the jobs that are right for you, the internships that are going to give you the experiences you want. And to help you find that perfect path, I would love some brave volunteers to raise their hand in Zoom because the first person to raise their hand is going to win that free book and some personal coaching to help you find that perfect path. So, Alec, David, Emily, Harold, Janine, let me know if you're game. Even if you're a family member, it's fine to do it as a little demo. We'd love to show you how you can use some of these tools to see what's out there. And Christina or Riza or anyone, just let me know. Give me a holler. And I won't do what I did at business school, which is the cold call on people, but I will go for David here. Yes, David, that's awesome. So, everyone, please give David lots of love. And David, welcome to the session. Hey, David.
All right.
All
Actually, Zach.
right.
Hey
Oh, this is
guys.
Zach. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. And Zach, tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you in your academic journey?
I'm a rising senior at the University of Wisconsin.
Hey, go
Starting
Badgers.
to think about the job search. I'm a strategic communications major, and I'm doing a minor in business.
Okay, I love that combination. Super cool. I think communications is one of those things that AI is never going to be that good at because it doesn't really understand the human audience. So I think that's very smart. Okay, Zach, in
All
your
right.
studies at Madison, have you come across this Japanese concept called ikigai?
I have not.
Okay, so ikigai, if anyone knows, and you let us know in the chat, is actually a really simple sort of Venn diagram. And it says, if you want to build a great life, don't just stumble randomly through life. Instead, try to find harmony between who you are as a person and what the world ultimately needs from you. So, Zach, are you willing to give this a shot, track down that ikigai, and help everyone else on the line as well?
Sure.
All right, I love that. So, again, everyone, give Zach lots of love. And, Zach, let's start with this. If
Hmm.
you're thinking as a rising senior, okay, I've had these experiences, I've built out certain skills, I've learned certain things about myself. What are a couple of those strengths that might come a little more difficult to your classmates and your friends, but that are right there at your disposal? Some of those skills that you're awesome at.
Skills. Are these like academic skills or?
Yes, great question. So it turns out that I would argue to you that a skill is a skill is a skill. If you are great at time management academically, you're going to be amazing at time management working in an organization, working in a company someday. So anything that you're especially proud of, that's what I want to hear about.
Sure. I think writing would be one of the skills.
Yeah.
And then a second skill maybe would be trying to think of a good second skill.
And I'm going to give you a little
Maybe,
hint here, Zach. Um,
sorry?
I'm going to give you and everyone else a little hint here.
Oh
This
yeah.
is tough. Like, even if you've taken a career assessment at your career center, a lot of times we don't know ourselves as well as the people around us. So I might ask your dad, David, for a little advice because we all know our kids pretty well. The other crazy thing is you could even ask AI. So, Zach, have you used AI a little bit over the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is crazy. But if you have an ongoing conversation, you could literally say, what are five of my secret superpowers that I might not even realize about myself? And you will find that AI is really good at saying, hey, we've been chatting for the last couple of years. Here are the things that you're bringing to the table. So when in doubt, go to your dad, go to AI. Okay, Zach?
Sounds good. Dad, what do you think?
Collaboration, teamwork.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I'm a
Collaboration's a
dad
good one.
myself, so I always feel that way about my own kids. Anything else?
Here, I'll try your
Oh
tool.
yeah, this is great. Okay, so everyone, like again, I know that this is fun to watch others do it, but it's even more powerful to do it for yourself. So if you're a senior in high school, if you're in college, if you're a parent or family member, try this for your own life, for your kid's life. See what you get back. And I'm curious what it says for you, Zach.
Yeah, it says um, ability to bridge creativity and analytics, relationship
Ooh,
building,
yes.
and intellectual curiosity.
Yeah. So it sounds like your dad was absolutely right there. Now let's switch from the world of skill and superpower to the world of passion. And in some ways, this is even harder because everyone's like, follow your passion, follow your bliss. Everyone's like, what the heck is my passion? So, again, if you're going to sort of use like a little metaphor here, imagine those moments in your life that psychologists call a flow state. You are so deep in what you're doing that you lose track of time because it's just such a natural fit for how you work. Do any moments like that come to mind, Zach, in terms of, hey, this was the kind of moment that allowed me to do my best work?
Yeah. Wait, so could this
So
be an
this is this
example of
idea of,
anything? Is it kind of the same rule of thumb as before, or is it not strictly academic?
yeah, definitely think about
Okay.
your entire life. And when in doubt, say, what are three burning passions that have lit up my path over the last couple of years? And you will find
Okay.
that even AI can start to help you with some of these things. But yeah, just off the top of your head, what are some of
Right.
those big motivators for you, Zach?
Or okay, so I think I've had that feeling before when I'm reading a book that I'm really into, like fiction.
Yeah,
Um, I've had that feeling, I mean, this might be redundant, but when I'm watching a good movie as well.
yeah,
And then I guess like more, I guess in an academic context, if I'm feeling like I'm in the middle of writing a good paper, that's a good one.
yeah. And in the zone almost when I'm writing a paper I'm excited about. Okay, I love this. So now, obviously, you could go way deeper, but for the purposes of this demonstration, let's pause here and let's cross the Ikigai chasm from the world of Zach to the world of work. And so, if we want to get a sense of what's out there, we just got to ask for it. We're going to say, what are 10 specific job titles that match my skills and interests? And what I want you guys to do is I want you to grab this prompt right in the chat. Obviously, you're going to customize that first paragraph for yourself, but use that second sentence to bridge those two worlds. And it turns out, Zach, contrary to what we often think of, like, oh, there are no entry level jobs left, there are tons of awesome opportunities. And not just the usual suspects of, oh, be a social media marketer, blah, 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 but be a content strategist, be an editorial associate, be a UX writer or content designer. So, Zach, if we're going to give you a little homework, I know the
Mhm.
last thing you want as a rising senior is more homework. We need to figure out the priority order to tackle these potential roles. So, one last question. If you were to close your eyes, Zach, it is now fall 2027. So, you have graduated from Wisconsin, you're out there in the world, you are living your best life. Tell me a little bit about what a really rich, awesome life feels like to you. Is it nice compensation? Is it work life balance? Is it social impact? Is it travel? Is it living in a certain location? What's key to a great life?
It's a good question. I'm gonna have to take a minute to think about it though.
Yeah.
I think
And please, while Zach is thinking about that, everyone be thinking about it. This is the time for us before the fall starts and everything heats up again for us to step back and really reflect.
I would like it to be a role that's creative.
Yeah.
I would like, I guess, to make enough money to where I don't have to worry about small financial concerns and stress so much about that, but I don't think that would be the
Yeah.
most important
We might
consideration.
say like fair compensation. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
be undervalued, but you're not like just in it for the money.
Yeah, I'd probably put work-life balance
Yeah.
above
Beautiful.
that, but I don't know,
Yeah.
that's tough to say because it might depend on the
Right.
time
And
period of my
obviously,
career.
as a famous poet once said, we all contain multitudes. So it's totally fine to have these goals and tension. And the reality is, AI can help you sort of navigate that tension. Again, there is no such thing as the one perfect role for everyone, just different roles, different pathways that give us different fits. So, Zach, as you look at these 10 job titles on my screen, is there one title that really intrigues you? You're like, huh, I haven't heard of that job or I haven't done that job, but I'd like to know more.
I'd be curious to hear more about the marketing strategy analyst.
Yeah, what the heck is this role all about? Like, we all know about marketing, but what about marketing strategy? So it turns out that we could certainly ask AI, AI, tell us about a day in the life, AI, tell us about the most important skills. But if we really want to learn about this role, who should we be talking to in the real world, Zach?
Oh, wait, sorry. Would you mind repeating that?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. If we want to deeply understand this role in a visceral way,
Hmm.
who should we be talking to about this role out there in the real world?
Maybe a marketing strategy analyst.
Yeah, here's the thing. When you go to the University of Wisconsin or Brandeis or Harvard or wherever it is, you're not just going there for the degree, you're going there for this amazing tribe that's there to help you learn. Check this out. You're going to love this. Have you ever gone to the University of Wisconsin's page on LinkedIn, Zach?
I have, but not often. So I'm
Okay,
sure.
no worries. Like this is my team's failure at LinkedIn because I was on the higher education team and we didn't get the word out enough. That being said, we built something for every university in the world called the Alumni Tool. Here's the one for Madison, but I want everyone to look up your alma mater right now. And what you will find is tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of alumni just waiting for your call. So in this case, let's find the Badgers focused on marketing strategy. We're going to put this in here. I want everyone trying this on your own screens. And look at this, Zach. We've got literally thousands of Badgers at Amazon, Google, Target, Salesforce, all over the place. So why don't we come down here and say, hey, what if we could learn from someone like Molly over here, Director of Content Strategy? She's a proud Badger. If we want to get in touch with Molly to learn from her experience, what do you think we should do? Should we connect with her? Should we message her? And I want to hear from everyone in the chat. What's the right way to strike up a conversation, do you think, Zach?
I would probably begin with a message, but I know
Yeah,
sometimes I think if you don't have premium, sometimes it's hard to message people
yeah.
unless
Well,
you're
tell me
first
this,
connected.
as a rising senior, do you have 50 bucks a month, three times the cost of Netflix, to be spending on LinkedIn Premium?
No.
No freaking way, right? But even if you came over here and said connect and add a note, it turns out your message ends up in the same exact place, which is Molly's LinkedIn inbox. Now, I know you're not out there in the working world already, but ask your dad for a second, Zach. Ask him how often he checks his LinkedIn inbox every day.
10 times.
10
10
times.
times? Is that right? What does your dad do out of curiosity?
Consulting.
Oh, consultant. Okay, got it. So maybe that's part of his role. The reality is, if you look at most people on LinkedIn, they're coming in maybe once a week, once a month, once a year. And so a lot of students will come to the career office and say, the alumni hate me. All these badgers aren't responding to my message. But it turns out they don't hate you. They just don't know that you exist because they don't see those messages on a regular basis. On the other hand, sad to say, Zach, there is one inbox that Molly is not just checking once a week, but 100 times a day. What is that magic inbox?
Her email?
Email. And your dad knows this to be true. Email is half of being a professional in 2026, which means we got to track down her email. So what we can do is we can say, what is the most common email format for employees at Planisware? Let me see if I get that right over here. Planisware like that. And you will find that AI is a really good email detective. It'll say first name dot last name is the way to go. However, even if we get into Molly's email inbox, is there any guarantee she's going to respond to us, Zach, if her inbox is full of messages from her colleagues and her boss and her clients?
No.
No, she's like, who's this guy, Zach? And we've got the same problem that maybe your parents warned you about back in the day. Stranger danger. Who is this random person coming into my inbox? But it turns out that we are not strangers here, Zach, because there is something else on the screen that is even more powerful than Wisconsin itself. What is the even stronger connection?
The oh wait, sorry, let me look. The function.
Not even the function, but these
Oh, I see
mutual
the mutual
connections.
mutual connections on there, yeah.
So here's the deal. Whether you're a psych major or a business major or a communication major, we all know in our hearts that we as people, we as a species, trust our friends way more than we trust anything else in this world. As a result, if Mike introduces us or Mallory introduces us, all of a sudden that stranger force field is deactivated. And Molly's like, yeah, great to help a fellow Badger, especially a friend of a friend. So now you have a guaranteed chat with an insider. And there's only one last step, Zach. You're this close to the promised land. If you want to figure out whether Molly's role is a great fit for who you are, how do you bring it back to Ikigai? What questions should you be asking her? And again, I want you guys to put your ideas in the chat. Help out your guy, Zach.
Should you be maybe in the subject or the beginning of the email kind of conveying your excitement by relating it to your own personal interests or maybe to something you have in common about the school.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in this scenario, let's imagine that you asked Mike for an introduction. Mike reached out to Molly and said, Molly, you got to chat with Zach. Not only is he a fellow Badger, but he's a rising star in the space. You're going to regret it till your dying day if you guys don't connect. So Molly has already agreed to chat with you, but you want to come in prepared. You want to have your list of questions ready. What do you actually want to ask her to discover if her role is a good fit for who you are?
Hmm.
Again,
Would you
don't
want to
leave
maybe
Zach hanging there, y'all. Give him some
some of
ideas in the
your
chat. But yeah, what's your thoughts, Zach?
maybe like bring up some of your transferable interests and say, do you share these? Is this something that you think would be
Yeah.
attractive to somebody who has these?
Yeah, Zach, I got to tell you, I've asked this question to hundreds of MBAs around the world, and they say, do you like your job? But Zach says that's not good enough. I have to discover if I'm going to like her job. And so I love what Lisa said, talk me through your day in a week. Abby says, what qualities make for a successful strategist? And if you want the ultimate hack, Zach, check this out. Even though LinkedIn is very tough to get data out of because that's their secret sauce, that's why they're worth so much money, there's a little hack. If you come to any alum's profile, and I want you guys to try this right now, click these three dots or the more button on their screen, click Save to PDF, and now we're pulling out Molly's whole profile, which means we can bring it back to AI and do a little bit of triangulation. What are 10 questions to ask this alum to discover if her role is a great fit for my skills, my passions, and my values? And final question, Zach, and then I'm going to let you off the hot seat. Does AI know your skills, passions, and values?
I bet it does. I talk to it a good amount. I can ask it.
Yeah. And
Let's see.
even if you're using AI for the first time, remember how AI is so different than we humans. Instead of having to repeat ourselves 10 times, AI keeps everything you told it in working memory, all your skills, all your passions, and it brings it full circle. And now, when you have this coffee chat with an insider, you're not just asking generic questions, you're asking about the stuff that matters to you. Am I going to get a chance to actually write, or am I just presenting a bunch of random stuff? Am I going to get a chance to be creative, or am I going to be a cog in the machine? And the bottom line is this, Zach. I'm giving you a free book, not just because you're brave and awesome, which you absolutely are, but because you've shared that generously with everyone across this community. So please, I am the rare person who always checks his LinkedIn messages. Send me a message on LinkedIn. I will get back to you right away and send a copy of the book over to your house before you head back to school. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Zach.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the insight. It's
Hey,
helpful.
my pleasure. Good luck in senior year. And as much as I hate to say this as a Wolverine, go Badgers.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Everyone, please give it up for Zach. Zach was in the hot seat, and yet he was the one on fire, absolutely in fuego. Now, the single best way to show love to this community is not just to celebrate with emojis, but to celebrate with juicy questions of your own. So if you have any questions at this point about, hey, how do I reach out to an alum? How do I test out a hypothesis I have about a job that I'm considering? Let's talk it through. And I guarantee you that if you have the question, everyone's got the same question, but just may be afraid to ask. So please don't hold back. Put your questions in the chat or unmute and ask live. And I'll just pause for a moment, see what questions are on your mind.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Marshall.
So, my name is Marshall. I'm a rising senior at the University of Notre Dame. We will be
Hey,
playing
go
the Badgers in
Irish.
football this fall in Green
Yes.
Bay. Um, I study philosophy, so I was really happy with the graph earlier, wasn't I?
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask really quickly, what is the most efficient way to figure out jobs and companies based on alumni from your school, but specifically in like hiring roles or recruiting roles?
Oh my
What's the most
goodness.
efficient way to do it? Because like I've tried to do it through LinkedIn
Yeah.
and sometimes people don't pay for premium, so their profiles
Yeah.
don't show up, even though it says, oh, there's 32 alumni, but there's maybe two on the page because
Yes.
they don't pay for premium. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to hold on to that question because we're going to answer it directly with a whole demo in about 15 minutes. But to thank you for asking such a brave question, I'm going to give you a little nugget about the alumni tool that I didn't mention before. When you come to the alumni page, this time for Notre Dame, one thing you can filter for is not just job title, but show me where all the philosophers ended up. And again, there's a stereotype of, oh, if you have a philosophy major, the only thing you can do is philosophy. Nothing could be further from the truth. Here is someone who's a president of a university. Here is someone who's the COO at BlackRock. These are big, big folks, and they all started in your exact same place. So, bottom line, we'll talk about the hiring managers in a moment, but absolutely, as Lisa said, know that you are in demand, including at those AI companies as we speak.
There's something really quickly I'd like
Yeah.
to add. Are there any other like alternatives to LinkedIn that would get me this information really quickly? Because technically we do have like a Notre Dame proprietary alumni network website, but nobody really uses or checks it.
Yeah. So
So
here's
are
the
there any
deal.
alternatives to like the duopoly of LinkedIn and Handshake? Because I'm
Yeah.
finding both to be really inefficient.
Yeah. So
Thank
here's
you.
the deal. I hate to say it for your university because they are trying really hard, but they will never be able to keep up with the freshness of data on LinkedIn. Because if you think about it as a professional, as soon as you change jobs, the first and maybe only place that you notify is LinkedIn. That is your professional record, so to speak. As a result, I would always go to LinkedIn as your source of truth, like these are your people. But as mentioned, LinkedIn has tons of users. They don't have that much usage. So rather than reaching out on LinkedIn, I would reach out via email or via those mutual intros. That's going to get you the best of all worlds, finding the right people and also reaching out the right way. Okay, Marshall? Great questions. I love these. This is why I love philosophy majors, because you guys ask the best questions. Okay, if there are any other questions, give me a holler. Otherwise, it's time for the next pop quiz. All right, what do you think is the first thing that a recruiter searches for when scanning for resumes? So basically, here I am. I have 1,000 people applying for this entry-level role. I have my applicant tracking system. Am I focused on classes, keywords, or GPA? And this is fascinating. Even though everyone is in school, focusing on your classes, focusing on your GPA, everyone's saying B. Marshall's saying B, Nick is saying B, Violet's saying B. Let's go to Nick on this one. Nick, if you don't mind unmuting for a moment, why are keywords so important to recruiters?
I just think that in a lot of like specific job like scenarios, sometimes like GPA, especially with like grade inflation going around, it's hard to verify like GP like your GPA is that like accurate or not, and sometimes classes also what's specifically taught in those classes. I think most recruiters, and they have so many applications, they just instantly search for those like specific keywords.
Absolutely. These recruiters have a tough job, y'all. I know it's hard to imagine, but if you're a recruiter at JP Morgan or Google or McKinsey or what have you, you are absolutely overwhelmed with applications, which means you need a shortcut, and keywords are that shortcut. And I will tell you, as a recruiter myself at Teach for America, the way that we would handle a deluge is we would do the same thing that EMTs do. We would do triage. We're not going to read every last resume, just the ones that actually make sense for the role. And to help you find your most important keywords, stand out in that ATS crucible, and get interviews with real live people, not just machines, I want you to raise your hand right now, and I will show you exactly how to make sure that you're 100% optimized and getting through to those actual hiring managers. So, who's going to be our next volunteer, next winner of one of those books? And again, don't be shy. As Zach showed us, the number one skill of 2026 is bravery, and it will take you so far, both in school and in life. Riza, are you volunteering, or was your line just unmuted? Oh, no worries at all. Okay, let's do this. If no one wants to do it together, Lisa, would you actually maybe Ira's going to give it a shot? Ira, do you want to give it a shot? Okay, maybe not. Lisa, would you be willing to do this with me as a little sort of demonstration of how this works?
Sure, I'd be happy to do
Okay,
it.
yeah.
But I know there's
Again, I don't want to
a
put
lot
anyone on
of
the
college
spot.
students out there that might
Yeah,
have a better use of it. But sure, happy to do
no
it.
worries, no worries.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Lisa, imagine that you have a second crack at life and you decide This time, instead of being a rock star advisor and former recruiter and all that good stuff, you're going to go down a totally different path.
Okay.
What would that plan B career be for you in this alternate dimension?
I've sort of done it a little bit, but I would be either a radio host or a podcast host or something like
Oh, I love that. Okay. I know you guys do have
that.
a podcast, right?
We
So
do.
you're going
Yes.
to live the dream a little bit. Let's say radio host for the purposes of this.
Yes.
If you wanted to imagine exactly how a recruiter is judging your candidacy, and again, there's this like applicant tracking system, and they're trying to figure out who actually makes sense. How do we know what keywords they're looking for? How do we figure out what are the critical skills for this role?
Well, I would look at any job that has a similar interest to what I want to do, and I would look at the keywords because I always say in every job description it says these are the things that you need to have. And I
Yeah.
would pull out all of those keywords, or I would have Claude pull out the keywords for me and
Yes.
make sure that my resume had those keywords in it.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. We often are told, man, these evil machines are out to get you, and there's this black box, and we have no idea what's going on in it. But nothing could be further from the truth. Because it turns out for every job in the world, recruiters are literally just handing you the most
Yeah.
important skills in the job description. So the first thing that I wish for every student out there is become a job description detective. Search for any job in the world right now. I'm going to search for a radio host job, on-air personality. I like this.
Oh, there we
Lisa's
go.
ready for prime time.
I'm ready.
And you say, you know what? This is kind of long and wordy. I don't even know what's going on here. But just like Lisa said, we don't have to figure it out ourselves anymore because we have our friend AI to help us crunch the data. So, what I want you to try is come to AI, say, what are the top 15 most important skill keywords in this job description? And you will be amazed at how fast AI gets rid of all the fluff and just leaves behind what matters. Content creation, live broadcast, social media. All right, this is all well and good. Now we know where the goalposts are. But Lisa, are you ready to go inside that black box and see how you're doing on these keywords?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's
And
go.
it may turn out that Lisa's ready for her encore
Yeah,
career
I may,
here. So,
maybe. I don't
yeah,
know.
here
We'll
we
see.
go. So, obviously, if you have your resume already, that's even better. Here's a
Probably
little
doesn't,
hack for
probably
you.
not on there, but yes.
Yeah, no worries. If you ever find yourself out in the world, maybe you're on vacation and then you end up meeting someone on the airplane who happens to be recruiting, says, give me your resume. I'd love to check you out. You can come right over here to your profile. Again, go to
Okay.
save to PDF, and you can convert your own profile into what is basically a little resume. It's a nice little way to have a resume in the case of emergency. So here's Lisa profile in
Okay.
resume format. Again, we come back to AI, we upload that file, and Lisa, are you ready for your moment of truth, the big reveal?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm ready.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out anyway. And all you have to ask is the simple question, which of those skills am I missing? And it turns out, Lisa, you're actually doing quite well.
Okay.
Content creation, communication, audience engagement, creative thinking. But then let me ask you about this.
Yes.
Have you ever done any work, especially with
No,
your
I just
podcast?
I outsource that.
Oh, you outsource all that. Okay, got it, got it. Let me
I've
ask you
done
this
the
part.
on-air hosting. I've
Yeah.
done on-air hosting through my podcast, right?
Right, so
Or
you've done on-air
co-hosting.
hosting. Have you ever done any work on social media?
We have a lot of social media, but it's
Yeah,
not as good as it can be.
right. But hold on a
But
second. You've done this stuff, just like so many students out there have done so many things in school. Why are you not getting credit?
because I have someone that manages our social media.
Okay, well, I think the reality is you're not giving the robot what it wants in robotic language,
Yeah,
right?
right,
You might not think to call it on-air hosting,
right.
but that's what the robot is looking for. So we got to speak robotese a little bit. Now, here's the big question, Lisa. We all have these resumes. Our career centers have forced us to build them. And we all have these different sections: summary, experience, education, skills. Of those four sections, which do you think is most important to the algorithm? Which is most trusted by the recruiters?
Tell me the
Oh,
is
sorry
it
about
the
that. So, like, you could stick these keywords all over the place.
right?
On-air hosting,
Oh,
on-air hosting,
it's in
on-air
it's in the
hosting.
headline. It's in the
Yeah,
headline of what I talk about at the top.
yeah. So definitely on your LinkedIn, you would want to have it in your headline over here.
Right,
But for a resume, which may not really have a headline, depending on your template,
right.
do you think we should stick it in the skills section, the experience section, the summary section?
Probably in the summary section.
Yeah, maybe I'll put up there.
And then a skills section as well. You should
Yeah.
probably have a skills section that lists all of those things.
Well, it turns out, and this is the little trap that we fall into all the time,
Yes.
recruiters don't trust those sections.
Okay. So
Because what do
experience.
they want? What do they want that just like listing it under skills is not good enough for?
Yeah.
They want to see context.
Yes.
Anyone can say, hey, I watched a video on YouTube last night on on-air hosting. Now I'm an on-air hosting expert. Versus if you've done it in the real world, I want to know about that.
So just like in your essays, everybody, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. There you go. So
Walk the
specific
talk. Walk the talk.
experiences, right?
And just to give you a taste of how this works, this is sort of the infamous ATS, and it's really not that scary. If I'm filtering for people with good Excel, yeah, your skill section matters. But if you've been using Excel as an intern, as a volunteer, in your student projects, I want to see that because that matters even more. So bottom line, we now face the ultimate question of 2026, Lisa.
Yes.
Knowing that you have to update your experience bullets. Do you want to come to AI and simply say, rewrite all my experience bullets to include those skills? Is this a good way to solve our problem?
I don't think so. I think I would just, I would write, I don't have anything on there about the podcast. So in the podcast, I would write about all that and then I would do that. So yes.
Yes, yes. Here's the deal. I know there are all these career gurus on TikTok. I know they're saying, hey, just put your job search on autopilot, apply, apply, apply. But even ChatGPT itself says there's a certain problem here. And what's that problem, Lisa?
You don't want to fake it.
Yeah.
You want to be authentic, right?
If you are there, if Zach is interviewing for that amazing marketing strategy role in a few short months, and his future boss says, Zach, your resume is amazing. Tell me about all the stuff that you've done. Only problem is Zach has never done it because AI hallucinated it.
Right.
Is Zach going to get that job, Lisa?
Of course not. Yeah.
No, one thing has not changed from pre-AI to post-AI. Hiring managers don't want to hire people who lie on their resumes, even if AI did the lying. So bottom line, what I want you all to do is get credit for the things you're awesome at, but do it in your own words and do it in the section that matters, which is your experience. Okay, Lisa, I'm giving you a free copy of the book.
Oh, yay!
So definitely drop me a
Excited.
message. And then for everyone else, give Lisa a lot of love, not just for hosting, but for being an amazing volunteer on the spot.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to be on the other side of it. See, that's
Yeah.
why I want to be the interviewee
Yay.
instead of the interviewee.
If you guys have questions, because I know there's a million questions when it comes to the applicant tracking systems. If you want to know how the ATS platforms work, if you want to know how recruiters use them, if you want to know how the LinkedIn algorithm works, we can go there as well. All you got to do is ask. Let me just pause for a moment, see what's on your mind. And I love what Abby said. Just like in your essays, show, don't tell. Well said, Abby. Okay, if no questions about the specifics of the ATS platform, let me roll on to one final pop quiz for you. And that is, at the end of the day, if you're a recruiter and you have 3 equally strong candidates, but only 1 interview slot left, who gets that final slot every single time? Is it candidate A, who applied on your company's website? Candidate B, who hit the easy apply button on LinkedIn? Or candidate C, who was referred? Lisa, Abby, Steph, your students, your families are crushing this. Marshall says C, Violet says C, Nick says C, Abby says C, Sonia says C. Let's go to Violet this time. Violet, why did you say C? Why do recruiters love referrals so much?
There was the point about stranger danger, that recruiters are excited when somebody that they already have a warm connection with applies through that referral.
Yes. And just to be really clear, Violet, if someone applies through an online application, is that person a trusted confidant or are they a stranger?
They are, in fact, a stranger.
Yes. So now we realize, aha, no wonder referrals give you a 10x advantage over people who apply online. These people are trusted, these ones are not. But let me complicate things a little bit. Turns out this data is from 2016, a full decade ago, which is like an epoch in the world of job searching. If you had to guess, Violet, in 2026, right now, is the power of a referral greater or less than what it was in 2016?
I would assume it's absolutely greater. It's much easier to apply to job postings online, and more of them just are online.
Wow. Violet, you might want to think about a career as a career coach because you nailed it. It turns out referrals are no longer a 10x advantage, but a whopping 20x advantage for the exact reason that Violet mentioned. If all these people are applying online and they're all strangers and we can't even trust what they put down because it's AI generated, by contrast, the referral is gold. It is manna from heaven for a recruiter who's craving authenticity. So for our last demo, with our last chance to get a copy of that book, I want you to raise your hand one last time and claim the very final opportunity to open these doors of opportunity to wherever you want to go next. Who's going to be our final volunteer? All right, Matthew, yes. Matthew, thank you so much for volunteering. And one more time, everyone give a blast of love Matthew's way for helping us close out the session in style. Welcome, Matthew. And Matthew, just go ahead and click that mic button and it'll be good to go. Oh, Matthew's on the train. No worries, no worries. Let's do this. Violet, you were doing great before. Would you be willing to give it a shot?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Everyone give Violet lots of love. And don't worry, Matthew, I'll send you a copy of the book as well. No worries at all. Violet, tell us a bit about yourself.
My name's Violet. I'm a rising sophomore at WashU, Washington University in
Hey,
St. Louis, not
yeah.
Seattle. Getting a degree in communication design and history.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm very happy that there are still some history majors out there. That being said, obviously you still have a couple years to figure all these things out. But if you wanted to get an internship this coming summer, Violet, is there a certain organization that would be super exciting? It could be an organization in history, in AI, nonprofit, company, anything like that come to mind.
That's a good question. I would be excited to do user research anywhere for
Yeah.
anybody. I know, there's a lot of AI startups that want things. I think also a history organization like the Smithsonian, that'd be really cool.
Ooh, let's do the Smithsonian. I'm
All
kind of
right.
tired of all those AI companies. Let's talk about the Smithsonian, which is, doing amazing work, probably at a very tight budget these days. That being said, Violet, if you're going to crack the code at the Smithsonian, you got to have someone who's going to refer you. The data is so clear. But Violet, do you know anyone at the Smithsonian already?
Not yet.
Not yet. And yet, even not knowing anyone today, do you still believe you can earn a referral there by the end of this year? And be
Sure.
really honest with me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Wow. And what gives you that confidence, Violet? Because I've asked this question to millions of, students and MBAs, and they all say, "Oh, it's not for me. I can't get it." Why do you have the confidence?
I go to a great school. I talk with a lot of the history and art history faculty. They seem to be personable. They make a lot of friends. They love when you bring them questions or oranges. Also, I live in the Bay Area. There's tons of people who want to talk, who want to go to things.
Yeah.
I've met great people at Stanford. Again, people must have friends. Professors love
Yeah.
to talk.
Violet, you should become a career coach because you're inspiring me. You're saying, like, hey, I know the world's tough. I know things are challenging right now. But guess what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to figure it out, which is the attitude we all need right now. I love that, Violet. Okay, let's make it happen. So, if we want to figure out who can refer us at the Smithsonian, we first need to know who works at the Smithsonian. Violet, did you know that you have access to a complete directory of everyone inside the organization?
Hmm. I know that sometimes museum sites have a directory, but are you saying the LinkedIn directory is good enough that it will tell me this
Ah,
information?
maybe even better. Check this out. Even if you were going to go to a staff website, a staff website might list some names and titles, but will it tell you everything about those people? Because it turns out that when you do that search on LinkedIn, we track down the Smithsonian page, what we will see is we have access to everyone. And let's do this. I know there are different Smithsonian opportunities here. So let's just try Smithsonian Institution. There we go. That's the one we want. Okay. If you do this, and I want everyone to try this right now on your screens. We talked about the alumni tab when you go to a school page. If you go to an organization's page, the People tab operates the same exact way. Look at this. 6,700 people inside the Smithsonian, any of whom could refer you. But we want to find the people who are excited to refer you, Violet. So what are we going to filter for? Of all these different facets, how do we find the people who have something in common with you?
I would look probably for WashU alumni.
Aha, check this out. Come over here, Washington University. Like you said, not to get confused with University of Washington. You click that page, and sure enough, we've got 15 folks on the inside. Now we scroll down. Turns out you don't just know people at the Smithsonian, you know directors, you know leaders, you know top curators. Let's go to Jennifer's profile. Jennifer is a WashU alumna. She's working at the Smithsonian. Again, just a test. How do you want to get in touch? What's the best possible way?
I mean, I would look connection/email.
Yeah, absolutely. Start with a mutual connection. If that's not there, send her a cold email, but warm it up. Hi Jennifer, this is Violet. I'm a fellow member of the WashU community, and I was thrilled to come across your profile because I'm so intrigued by what you're doing. I know this is a challenging moment. I know you must be really busy, but if you had even 10 minutes to share your expertise, I would love to learn from you. And why does that message tend to work so well, Violet? Why does that speak to you in terms of what Jennifer's looking for?
I think, recruiters, people who are hiring people are excited by people who are taking initiative and who are excited enough about the role that they're willing to take the time to send a personalized email versus just clicking apply.
Yeah. And are you shaking down Jennifer for a job like, I went to WashU, you went to WashU, give me a job? Or are you
Not yet.
genuinely curious about her?
No, I'm excited about her, excited
Yeah.
about her role, excited
And
about what she thinks about it.
turns out every human being has this desire. I know this is weird if you're 17 or 18 or 21, but someday you're going to be 37 or 38 or 41, and you're going to say, yeah, I can make a marginal dollar or get a marginal better job. But what I'm really hungry to do is to pay it forward to the next generation. That's why Lisa and Abby and Stephanie do what they do, because they're hungry to be generative, to sort of leave that legacy. As a result, Jennifer loves your message. She agrees to chat with you. Only question is, what's your plan here, Violet? Do you want to give Jennifer some big elevator pitch about how great you are? Or do you want to ask her questions about herself?
I think I want to ask her about herself. I'm not sure what it's like to work at the Smithsonian. I've never done that yet. I'm as interested in, how she feels as I am about how I would potentially feel in this role.
Yeah, I love that. You just have curiosity, right? The same thing that brought you to WashU, the same thing that led you to choose the classes you did. Now they've led you to this moment where you want to learn from the previous generation. So you're asking her about, hey, how did you go from WashU to the Smithsonian? What surprised you along the way? What do you wish you had known back when you were in my shoes? That's catnip to any alum, and any parents on the line. Let Violet know that's the kind of stuff that you would love to share with your own child or a member of your alma mater. Now, let's imagine just when you're having this really juicy chat, Violet, disaster strikes. Jennifer looks at her watch and says, oh, I'm so sorry, Violet. We have this huge directors meeting coming up. I gotta run. And all of a sudden, this perfect connection is starting to walk out of your life forever. Is there one last question you can ask Violet that plants the seed that someday grows into a referral? What do you guys think? What should Violet ask? What is the ultimate generative question? Okay, this is a tough one. So I'm going to ask you guys to write this down. You're going to use this today. You're going to use it for the rest of your career. You're going to say, Jennifer, this was awesome. I know you got to run. If I could ask for one more piece of advice, if you were back in my shoes at WashU, trying to break into the Smithsonian all over again, knowing what you know now, what would you be doing to get the best shot? And there's something about that framing that is exactly the opposite of AI. It's not robotic. It's not transactional. It starts with empathy. She has been in your shoes. It goes to generativity. She wants to share what she's learned. And instead of asking for generic advice, you've put her at this crossroads where she's going to be honest with you. She's going to say, hey, Violet, let me get real. I was referred. My whole team was referred. Half of the Smithsonian was referred. You got to get a referral. And maybe it's your lucky day. Maybe they're actually hiring. And she's like, Violet, we've got an internship program, going on right now. Let me know about your resume. I can refer you. Or maybe she says, hey, we're not going to hire for a couple more months. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but let's stay in touch. If Jennifer opens that door of opportunity just a little bit, Violet, do you walk on through? Do you follow up? Do you move heaven and earth to earn that referral?
I mean, I think a question I have is when there's discussion of keeping doors open, keeping in
Yeah.
contact with people, what's the best way to do that? It's
Yeah.
not all the time that I have something like a good thing to talk about. Like what's
Yeah.
precedent for that? How much should I be reaching out? Does it matter with a what's the weather versus an actual like
Right.
inquiry?
I am so happy you said this, Violet. You could have just said, yes, Jeremy, I'm preaching to the choir, that kind of thing. But you said, hey, how do you actually do this? And the devil is in the details. Violet, I have probably spoken to 1,000 students from the University of Michigan who wanted jobs at Apple, Google, LinkedIn, Khan Academy, you name it. How many of those people ever followed up with me?
Probably very few.
I would say maybe 25. How many of those people got referrals?
Maybe less than 25 or maybe
No,
all
all of
25.
them, all of them. Because alumni want to help, but they also want to make sure that they feel like their time is valuable, not just going in one ear and out the other. So the question then becomes, how do I follow up in a way that's respectful, not wasting their time? First thing is you got to remember to follow up. It turns out that so often people never follow up, and so they leave opportunity. And then the reason they forget to follow up is that they just forget about it, period. So, what I want you guys to all know about is there's this amazing free tool called followupthen.com. Every single time I correspond with an alum, Violet, I always go to the BCC line and I say every 1 month at followupthen.com. And just like clockwork, no matter how crazy my life gets, I remember to check in. But here's how you check in the right way. Not, oh, can you give me that referral now? Oh, can I get a job now? But instead, hey, that blog you told me to read about curation, that was amazing. I've learned so much. That person you introduced me to over at SF MoMA, that was amazing. I am so happy I made that connection. And by closing that feedback loop, what you're telling the alum is that generativity wasn't wasted. That wasn't empty advice. It actually landed and was used. And that's what we all want. So, Violet, for demonstrating this so beautifully, I want to give you a double offer. I want to give you a free book. So, obviously, shoot me a message. But if I can introduce you to anyone at the Smithsonian, just say the word, I will personally broker that connection. Is that a
All
fair
right.
offer?
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Violet, because I put you on the spot, so I know I'm asking a lot. But I want to just say what Violet's really demonstrating here, with her confidence, with her optimism, is yeah, there's stuff about our world right now that absolutely sucks. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. The economy, the labor market, geopolitics, you name it. But we can't really change all of that tomorrow. What we can do is we can start building our own luck. Can start putting ourselves out there into the world, creating opportunities of our own. And Violet, for demonstrating that so beautifully, I have every confidence you're going to absolutely rock it in all that you do next. Thank you so much, Violet. All right, everyone, please give it up for Violet, who was awesome. And then, in our final few minutes, if you have any last questions, please, please, please do not go into the good night without asking them, because I don't want anything standing in your way as you go out there and rock the world. So I'll be looking for your questions. And in the meantime, I'm going to shower you with a bunch of goodies. So, first things first, if you want to stay in touch, if you've got additional questions, if you want to learn about anything else, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. As mentioned, this is a great way to get practice sending these little connection requests, so feel free to reach out. If you wanted a free LinkedIn profile makeover, here's a way to grab that. And then I totally realized I never answered that great question that was asked by, I believe, Marshall, the philosopher. Marshall said, hey, how do I not just find alumni, but alumni who are hiring? It turns out the magic two words are so obvious in retrospect, but they are I'm hiring. And what you will see, Marshall, is that the people who are posting on LinkedIn are not recruiters, not salespeople, but your future boss, the product marketing director, the associate brand director, the branch manager. These are the people you want to get in touch with. And so let's say you want to go for this role over at Snowflake, you want to work in marketing. The single best thing you can do is check out this job, start to understand what's behind the job. So I would drag this entire job description over to AI and then simply say, what are the three most burning pain points behind this hire? In other words, what's driving this person to hire when everyone else out there is firing? Why are they sticking their neck out? And if you can understand the hiring manager's pain, you can respond to them and say, hey, Lauren, I came across your role. I see the challenges you're facing. Here's how I can help you solve them. And I will tell you right now, whether you're a philosophy major or a CS major, you will absolutely stand out compared to everyone else who's only applying online when you build a relationship with your future boss before they even start hiring. So great question, Marshall. Sorry for the delayed answer. Okay, if no final questions.
I think
and I've got
Samvit
one
has a
le-
question.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
go for it, Lisa. So sorry, my apologies.
Samvit, I think has
Oh,
a question.
Sambit. Yeah, Sambit, go for it.
Yeah, hi. I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Maryland. I'm studying CS. I had a question going back to like the ATS kind of section about of this.
Yeah,
So like I feel like with all the jobs out there, at least for CS, it's pretty hard to get your resume tailored to fit every single keyword for all the jobs out there. So how
yeah,
would you recommend kind of going about the fact that there's so many different things that so many different companies look for and how to like tailor your
yeah,
resume in that way?
absolutely. So here's the deal. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, before ChatGPT came out, I would say, hey, don't sweat it. If you can have one software developer resume and one product manager resume, you've done pretty much all the customization you can reasonably do. But now that we are living in a world where AI can simulate the ATS, instantly pull out the most important keywords, instantly tell you what you're missing, it really should only take you about 5 or 10 minutes to customize a resume. Not completely overhaul it, but just get credit for a handful of the skills you're missing. So, what I would challenge you to do, Samvit, is if there are jobs that you are genuinely really excited about, don't just blast out one version of the resume over and over again. Spend even a few minutes trying to customize in the ways we talked about, and you'll find that all of a sudden, because of the power of this AI, you can get really customized really darn quickly. That's the scale opportunity. However, don't rest on your laurels. It's not just about, hey, I've customized my resume, now I'm done. Instead, as soon as you submit the resume, now you start to look for that referral. Find that chirp on the inside at Google, Facebook, Amazon, wherever, because even if your resume gets rejected, if someone reaches out to the recruiter or hiring manager and says, Samvit is awesome, you get another bite at the apple. So that's what I want for you, Samvit, is not just an optimized resume, but an optimized strategy in general. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Great question.
One just quick follow-up question. How
Yeah.
important is the cover letter?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So it turns out that obviously a really poorly written cover letter, and I think we all know what we're talking about here, generate a cover letter for a software engineering internship at Google. A cover letter like this is going to pretty much instantly get you rejected. So if you just create a very generic one and it says, Dear Sir or Madam, I'm writing to express my interest in X role at Y company, recruiters have seen so many of those over the last couple of years that they're going to say, hey, this person used AI in a lazy way, therefore they must be lazy, therefore there's no way I'm taking a chance on them. However, if you were to write a much deeper cover letter, again, focused on pain points, focused on what a hiring manager cares about, that could help. The problem is there are so many bad cover letters out there that I think it's kind of killing the golden goose. What I've heard from my recruiter friends is they're kind of just giving up on it entirely because they're so skeptical they're going to find anything useful here. So I hate to say it, but AI might be ruining something that I personally loved as a recruiter, which was a great cover letter. And don't forget those famous words from Steve himself. Our time on this planet is limited. Don't live it based on FOMO. Live the life that is true to you. And with that being said, I want to wish you tremendous success in all that comes next. And Marshall, happy to take your question. But if anyone has to go, no worries. Here's wishing you a beautiful evening. Over to you, Marshall.
Thank you so much, sir. Great presentation tonight. I'd just like to ask one final thing,
Yeah.
which is what are the best strategies to stand out at like an on-campus job fair
Yes.
because like there's often a lot of people standing in line, a lot of people clamoring for one or two guys' attention. So how do you stand out?
Yeah, Marshall, this is so important because I think we as students spend so much time focused on that job fair, and yet you just nailed the fundamental inequality. We're spending all this time prepping for it, and yet we have 5 seconds to make an impression. So the reality is that I would say I want you to use that job fair as a little bit of an appetizer or a foot in the door, and then actually carve out room for the entree, the full conversation later when the recruiter or the alum has more time. So my goal is I would try to speak to that person, there and say, "Hey, I know this is a really busy moment. I know you got a ton of stuff going on. Would it be possible to chat for even 10 minutes, next week when you're back at the headquarters? I would love to pick your brain about some specific questions." Now you get a chance to make a way bigger impact, get way more information, and you're not competing with every other, member of the Fighting Irish for those little slots of attention with the recruiter. There we go. Yeah. So bottom line, you know, you get your foot in the door, but also save that opportunity for when the time is right. Okay, Marshall?
Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. And good luck in your senior year. I hope you absolutely crush it. And good luck to the Fighting Irish.